Our veteran today is being sponsored by Representative Brian Renninger. Representative Renninger, you're recognized to introduce the Veteran of the Week.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, first of all, I'd like to tell you how much I appreciate the robust attendance that we have today. I'm really appreciative of that. Before I'd start, I'd like to recognize Sergeant Donald Hamilton's family that's here. And if you would, please stand up in the South Gallery. And if you'll notice, one of the reasons this event is so special to me is that my legislative assistant, Louise Aldridge, this is her uncle. And anyway, I just wanted to point that out. And at this time, Mr. Speaker, I'd like for the clerk to read the citation.
Clerk will read.
Whereas Sergeant Donald Pharis Hamilton is a resident of Muskogee, Oklahoma, and served his country honorably as a member of the 179th Regiment, 45th Infantry Division of the United States Army during World War II. Sergeant Hamilton was born on August 5, 1920, and entered in the United States Army on September 9, 1940. After departing on U.S. soil, his regiment landed in North Africa, where they readied for the regiment's invasion of Sicily. Sergeant Hamilton was injured in Sicily, but was able to advance with his unit into Italy, where he was injured once again. He received 2 Purple Hearts for his injuries. And whereas Sergeant Donald Pharis Hamilton was proud to serve the 179th Regiment of the 45th Infantry Division during one of the most horrible times of war, where very few of his friends, true heroes of war, made it back to home and family. Though Sergeant Hamilton had been reassigned back to the U.S., his unit advanced into Anzio, engaging in one of the deadliest battles of World War II. And whereas Sergeant Donald Pharis Hamilton, following his injury, served at the World College in Washington, D.C., where he remained until his honorable discharge, having served 5 years and 20 days. While serving at the War College, Sergeant Hamilton's father died in Oklahoma. Donald borrowed $90 from the Red Cross and flew home for the first time to Oklahoma for the funeral. And whereas Donald Pharis Hamilton married Molly Goodman on June 23, 1946, and this summer on June 23rd, they will celebrate 70 years of marriage. Their marriage has been blessed with 5 sons, Donald, Daryl, David, Dwayne, and Dale, 12 grandchildren, 24 great-grandchildren, and 5 great-great-grandchildren. And whereas among the most honored of all those in public service are veterans who protected all Americans from enemies, both foreign and domestic, and whereas the state of Oklahoma holds veterans in the highest esteem and appreciates the sacrifices and contributions they have made to preserve this country's freedom, and whereas the Oklahoma House of Representatives of the 55th Legislature takes great pride in honoring Donald Pharis Hamilton as Veteran of the Week this 14th day of March 2016. Now, therefore, pursuant to the motion of Representative Brian Renninger, Representative Jerry McPeak, the Oklahoma Legislature extends to Donald Pharis Hamilton best wishes and directs that this citation be presented.
Sergeant Hamilton, thank you for the service to our country. And here is a flag and the copy of the citation. This flag was flown over the Capitol, and this is a copy of the authenticity. And if you would, please turn and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and afterwards I'll let you speak a few words, okay?
Okay.
So, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and the United States of America, one nation republic for which it stands, liberty and justice for all. Under God.
Sergeant Hamilton, you're recognized.
Folks, get comfortable.
Thank you. Got it. Thank you. I'm so honored to be here. And just absolutely, I told the kids if I'm asleep, please don't awaken me. And I have 3 minutes to tell you that when you think of sacrifice and good fighting people, you think of our own 45th here in Oklahoma and the 179th Infantry. I tell you, if you allow me, I'll read you. This man wrote an article about Anzio. And he says, Anzio, the other D-Day. And every time I read a D-Day, it'll have Normandy by it. But that's all right. They're deserving. But I want to read what happened at Anzio to our 45th. They arrived when, on January 22nd, the Thunderbirds were already veterans of 2 combat landings, Sicily and Salerno, and had an enviable combat record. Later, they would land in southern France, and here's what happened. Casualties were fearful. This is still talking about Anzio. And the guns they had mounted on the railroad cars, the 45th, 179th Infantry lost 55% of their officers and men, 142 killed, 367 wounded, 228 missing. The division itself lost 2,000 wounded, 1,000 still missing. Folks, I tell you, they were, publicity won't bring them back, but you remember the sacrifice, and the last paragraph he writes, he said, even if there had not been a Normandy, at that time, the first week of June would still be remembered as a great moment in the World War II. Indeed, a great moment in the history of the world. Oh, I lost my neighbors, my schoolmates. Folks, if you have to go to war, don't go with your schoolmates or kids. I was best man at Diz Dean's wedding. Diz got killed. His folks farmed right across the fence. And I thank you so much. I'm honored and unworthy of all of this, but it is such a privilege to have been here, and thanks again. God bless you.